is the creosote bush. It dominates large areas of arid desert landscapes, especially in the low desert. You can find it in huge swaths across the Sonoran Desert, the Chihuahuan Desert, and the Mojave Desert. And it usually resides in places where a lot of other plants tend to not seem to want to grow. So what makes the creosote bush so good at desert dwelling? Hey everyone, welcome back. As usual, I'm your field guide Heather, and today we're exploring the crazy world of the creosote bush. And I want to show you guys exactly how this thing survives in such arid conditions. And we'll even explore a little bit of what makes it so useful and things you might want to know if you're in the desert with the creosote bush. So let's get right to it. First, it has these really small leaves, and small leaves are a great strategy at lowering the surface area, which lowers water loss. This isn't that different than the strategy that cactus spines use in the desert as well. These leaves are also coated with a waxy resin, which also helps prevent water loss. And by far one of the biggest advantages the creosote bush has is its chemistry. This chemistry helps it reduce water loss, but it also helps it reduce damage from insects and munching from mammals. A lot of animals don't like chewing on this plant. There's actually only one that can eat the leaves, and that's the jackrabbit. One of these interesting chemicals is referred to as NDGA, and this is what's responsible for it not really being too digestible in many animals' guts. It's also something that's very interesting medicinally. It's also thought that the chemistry of these plants deter the growth of other plants around them. Well, it's kind of true. It's true for its main competitor, Sage, and actually for creosote bush itself around it. As you can see, they grow with some considerable space around one another. But they also employ strategies that increase the nutrients around the plant directly. One of those is actually the shape of the plant. They'll grow in different shapes, from cones to other shapes, depending on the conditions and what it needs. And those shapes actually help it, such as the cone shape helps funnel down water on the branches and put organic matter around it on the ground, which increases the fertility of the soil for the plant. They also host symbiotic relationships with algae, fungi, and bacteria that live on the branches. These relationships actually help them to gather more nutrients, say from rainwater. Along with that process, it actually also gets a dusting of material, of dust after storms, and that dust on the plants also has nutrients in it. So through all those processes where it gathers all these extra nutrients, the creosote bush is able to capture 9 times the phosphorus and 16 times the nitrogen that it normally would get from just regular old rainwater. That is the southeast for me. Now, why does that matter? Well, it has to do with the creosote bush's strategy for growth and collecting sunlight and carbon dioxide. You see, the bush has positioned its branches and leaves mostly that way, to the southeast. Why does it do that? Well, the creosote bush actually only opens up its stomata in the morning hours. It does this so that it can open up only when humidity is high and the sun isn't too intense yet. And that's how it gathers CO2 without sacrificing a lot of water loss. It also has an extensive shallow root system for max water collection. And sometimes it will also throw on a taproot in times when it needs to collect as much water as possible. This is how it competes with other plants for water collection. With strategies like these, the creosote bush is able to survive several years without any water. So it can survive some of the harshest drought conditions. We'll see what climate change throws at it. And it even has a couple of other tricks up its sleeve. It can survive temperature differences of up to like 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. In places like the Sonoran Desert, the temperatures actually do vary that much, and it can get cold in the winter and at night. It survives growing right out in the open sun, but it also survives those Sonoran summer monsoons as well. And lastly, you can not only find the creosote bush in North America, but also in South America. In fact, it's actually originally from South America, but that was a long time ago. So as you can see, the creosote bush is amazing. It has a wide range of areas you can find it in. It has these incredible strategies for which it's able to survive in some of the harshest conditions and outcompete other plants that are like, I'm out. But it also has a lot of other cool things. I'm going to leave it at that for today's discussion, but please check out some of my other discussions about the creosote bush. It gets even cooler than this, trust me.